Well, I have the flu, so what better way when I feel like The Walking Dead? There's no better time than to actually watch and review The Walking Dead. This is Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 14. The title is Still Gotta Mean Something, and they're probably referring to the fact that the show doesn't mean anything anymore because it's been so bad for so many years, for so long. I think the last good episode was Negan's first appearance, which was very much like the comic book, and it showed promise. I thought it was a great episode. I thought it was well done. And even though Jeffrey Dean Morgan didn't look like the Negan character, I'm like, all right, it's different interpretation, different look of the character. He just hasn't worked out, and they've barely shown Negan anyway. So, well, I don't want to go on my Negan rant. Maybe I'll do one later. But, so I'm going to watch this episode. My hopes are just nowhere. My expectations are nowhere. So maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. I don't know. Either that, or I'll just fucking hate it like I've been not liking most of the episodes anyway. So, and considering I'm in a terrible mood because I'm so sick, this will make my review even more bitter and angry and sick. I'm sick of this show. I'm coughing up a lung. I'm sick of this show while I'm sick in my actual life. So I can't wait to watch. I don't even want to watch it. I watched this show in the background, but now I'm not. So, I'm scared. This is scarier than zombies. All right, so I will give my review when the show is over. Yay me! Wow, that was actually a good episode. Not like so-so, not like, pretty good. It was solid. That was a solid Walking Dead episode. There wasn't really, unless I was talking over them, there weren't really any cringeworthy moments. They concentrated on the characters we knew. The characters went somewhere. They developed. There were some turns in there. You see the gray areas of, the characters' decisions. You can see the good and bad in both the quote-unquote bad and good characters. This is like almost, there was some gory effects. Obviously there were zombies. This was like some classic Walking Dead stuff here. So, I am pleasantly surprised at this episode. I was all ready to just go wailing away on it with, like, Negan using Lucille. But I wasn't. This episode had a lot of fat trims, and the protein stood out, I guess. So, I don't know if I want to go in depth in this review. I think my commentary kind of said everything I need to say. So while I still have my cognitive functions left before this flu completely overtakes me, I'll give my plugs. So I'm Mike Lane, and the podcast is Music, Movies, and More, and I'm on Twitter at Mike Lane Acts. Oh my God. Don't include the cough when you type in my handle, but it's MikeLaneAct. You can email me at mikelaneact@yahoo.com. You can find me on Facebook at Mike Lane Actor. Please comment, share, and rate this podcast, and I will be doing many more of these. Even if you don't comment, rate, and share, I'll still do it. So there. And hopefully next podcast I will be in much better health than I am now. I've had this thing for about a week, so I'm getting there. I'm not like I was a week ago. It was horrible. The flu is no joke. This is like, I got the legit flu. I got like type B flu. And, I got my flu shot. Always get your flu shot. It's just, there were other factors going on in my life that obviously germs are the main cause of the flu, but because of other factors I don't want to really mention right now, I'm pretty sure it's what contributed to it. So, anyway. All right. So, safe journeys, everyone, if you're going anywhere. And I decided to record a commentary while this is going on. Why not? Content. Content is king. Oh, fucking Carl. I think they, first, that episode with Carl, when he died, was painful. Because they dragged out his death for the whole episode. His death didn't mean anything. And Carl's such a great character in the book, and it's just been messed up on the show. I honestly think, and I'll never know this, I'm my gut feeling is that they got rid of Carl because Chandler Riggs just couldn't pull the character off, because he's just a very difficult character to convey, especially, after seeing the comic book, after reading the Carl arc in the comic book, which is incredible. It's a really hard character to play off. I have no proof of this. This is just merely speculation. So who knows? I definitely could be wrong, but that's just my gut feeling about it. Oh yay, the garbage person, which at least the garbage people are dead. Well, all except one, and the leader's no longer talking in fragments, so that's good. Oh, that was painful as well. Oh, and by the way, when the fuck are they gonna run out of bullets? This is like the land of unlimited bullets and unlimited gasoline. It's just ridiculous. Like, where is this stockpile of bullets? And I know Eugene, who's another awful character as well, because it just doesn't seem that there's a person in real life who acts like Eugene, because I just don't understand how the character can talk or act that way. At least the Eugene in the comic book is, he has his problems, but you can tell that he's plausible. This is just like so campy. The garbage people were campy. The Eugene character was campy. It's just nothing relatable or likable about that character whatsoever. Ugh. And I don't blame the actors. He's just doing, they're just given the direction they're given. With the performance of Carl, even though the character wasn't written that well, part of the blame has to be given to Chandler Riggs. He's just, the performance just wasn't strong enough, like ever. And such a very vital and important character. So I think with Carl, they may want to find a new Carl with that blonde kid that stabbed the guy in the throat. I don't know any of these characters' names, I forget. And most of the actors on the show are great. I have really nothing against the acting. I mean, there are some exceptions, but for the most part, these are just awesome actors, obviously. You can be the greatest actor in the world, but if the material you're given isn't good, it's not going to be great. And vice versa, you can be, the worst actor in the world. You can have the greatest written material, but if you're, not a good actor, it's not going to be good. You need the two. And I'm going to do a lot of comparing of the comic book to the show, because the comic book is still really good. But the Negan in the comic book, what makes him, I don't know, is he still alive? Is he not still alive? I don't know. I actually do, but I don't want to give anything away. But what makes the Negan character so compelling in the comic book is that there's so many dimensions to him. Well, one, he's physically imposing, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan isn't. But even if Jeffrey Dean Morgan wasn't physically imposing, the Negan character had that mental warfare going. He can mentally intimidate you as well. And the way Morgan performs him, and the way Negan is written, there's nothing scary about him whatsoever. In the comic book, there are so many dimensions to him. So at one minute you're disgusted by Negan, and the next minute you're scared of Negan, and then another minute you can see where Negan's coming from, and then the next minute you like Negan. It's like, oh my god, what's going on? Like, even though ultimately, like, I'd rather be led by Rick than Negan. Rick, for all of his faults, and there's a lot of them, he's not an authoritarian like Negan is. And the Kirkman in the comic, and even people in the show, make clear that Negan wants to protect his people. He just has different ways to go about it than than Rick. But when you compare the Negan of the comic book to the Negan of the show, there's not that likability because he always has this one dimension. It's always like, "Hi, I'm Negan," and he's always the same note. And I don't know if that's Jeffrey Dean Morgan because he's a really good actor, or I don't know if that's what he's being told to do. I don't. But there's not too many facets of him. You only saw it once with Negan on the TV show, and that was when after Carl died, and Rick kept saying, "I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you," and then Negan said, gave him the whole riot act where it's like, "Well, Rick, this is your fault," and you saw the humanity in Negan, even though it's like Negan didn't really know Carl that well, and Carl wasn't that charismatic a character. They tried to build Carl up in the show, especially the last episodes, to be this all-knowing and charismatic character that people loved and followed. But there was nothing there with Carl. So Negan, that's what Negan tries to lead the audience to believe that, oh, well, I like Carl too, and it's affected me, even though there's no evidence that it should have affected Negan. But okay, let's go with that. That speech that Negan gave to Rick, it's like, okay, this is another side of Negan that I want to see. Kind of like when the governor was alive. There were different facets of him, which made the governor such a compelling character. And it's just not there with Negan because it's just this one goofy, campy dimension where it's like, "Hi, I'm Negan, and what the shit is going on here?" And in the comic book, there is that, but, and the comic book can be over the top as well with that character, but there's also different facets of him that we got to explore with him that the show just has not at all. Ugh. Oh, don't get me started on Ezekiel. Oh my god. That's another character where in the comic he's really cool, but then like when that character in the comic is brought to life, you can see how annoying he is, because I would be horribly annoyed. Someone who just puts on that front like that the whole time. Maybe if he really had an English accent, it would be a little better. But I just found him annoying. And Tara's on screen now with Daryl. Another waste of a character. Just horrible. There's nothing likable about her whatsoever. Again, nothing with her I could latch on to at all. Like, anytime she's on screen, I always take the side that's not her. Like, when she got into that fight with Dwight, I'm like, oh my god, Dwight, just get away. No wonder why Dwight's back with the Saviors, why we want to get away from Tara. Even when I agree with Tara, I just, I don't see the point of her character. That was one of the worst Walking Dead episodes with Tara when she went to the Oceanside, which is funny, there's a town on Long Island called Oceanside, so I always think of that. I love Denai Guerrero as Michonne, and Andrew Lincoln as Rick. Just awesome casting. I just wish they had better stuff to work with. Again, I wasn't sad when Carl died, and I wish I would have been. Like, if anything, okay, there's spoilers, and I'm going to put that there's spoilers in the comic books as well. If anything happens to the Carl character in the comic book, I'm going to be really upset, because he's such a great character in it. But I understand why someone like Michonne has to be sad that Carl's dead. But just Carl throughout the years just had no effect on me whatsoever. I like that Rick and Michonne are together. And I guess I'm just drawing from the Michonne in the comic book. I kind of like the Michonne in the comic book because she was very standoffish, but at the same time, Michonne did have relationships in the comic book as well. So, yeah, it's cool that Rick and Michonne are together in the show. And I haven't watched Talking Dead in many years because there's nothing to gain by watching that show. If you like the behind-the-scenes info, fine, but you'll never get anything critical about the show whatsoever. It's like watching state-run TV. It's just everything positive about The Walking Dead all the friggin' time. Unless I'm wrong, I would love to see a guest go, you know what, this episode really sucked and I didn't like it. But, why would they do that? It's career suicide. It's still a high-rated show. No one would do that. They'll find something they like about that episode. I like Morgan on the show. Probably even better than Morgan in the comic book. Same thing with Carol. I like Carol in the show better than the Carol in the books. Even though they look so goofy with those shoulder pads on. I mean, I understand why they weren't. It just doesn't look good. Oh, finally they're discussing running out of ammo. It would be nice just have them go hand to hand. Don't go old school. Bring out swords and shit. Now, I want to pay attention to Negan because, I like a good villain. A good villain makes me stick to the show even more because I root against the villains. So I want to find a way to root against them, but at the same time, what keeps me in tune, to them? And there's a likability factor and a charismatic factor there. So, especially with Negan, I'm trying to find that, but I haven't found it yet. So, let's see. He's talking to I forgot her name, the leader of the garbage woman. Let's see if he can be charismatic and convincing or charming or something. Come on, Negan, or the writers of Negan. Well, that's the sympathetic Negan now. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes if you can convince the garbage pail kid. This soundtrack, very reminiscent of Day of the Dead, George Romero's Day of the Dead, which Greg Nicotero, the executive producer, director of special effects artist of The Walking Dead, was connected to. It's one of his first movies. Oh, so I wonder what's going to happen with the iconic Rick hat, because Carl has worn that for so long. I wonder what he's going to do. Is he going to burn it? I hate, and it's not whether it's good or bad, it's just I don't like when we know something truthful happened, but one character doesn't, and it's up to another character to try to convince her something we already know to be true happens, which is what Negan's doing, which I don't like because we already know what happened. Wait, where'd he get the flare? And the gun? I missed it. I guess I was too busy talking. Now I'm watching the Fear the Walking Dead preview, and that had started off really bad, but it's getting progressively better, and last season was actually pretty good. Like, I liked the Cowboys and Indians motif, and from what I remember, just stirring in what's going on politically between, different factions of people. So I thought it, for the most part, went really well. Now that Morgan's going to be in it, I'm not going to say I'm looking forward to it, and like The Walking Dead, it's probably still going to be one of those shows that I'll just have on in the background, if I'm working out or if I'm doing some other work, I'll have it on, but it definitely hasn't been bad. I could have never dreamed of having Walking Dead on in the background, for the first 5 seasons, I guess, but it's just how a show can degrade. Like, it's gotten a little melodramatic with Negan and the garbage woman, and I don't know, I guess we don't really know Negan enough to really empathize with him or figure out why he's like that so quickly. I wish there was just more character development with him, because it just seems like it's either he's arrogant and cocky or he's very sentimental, and there's kind of nothing in the middle right now. I'm just not latching on to him. Gotta hand it to him, though. I've been watching zombie movies for well over 30 years, and it's still terrifying when even the slow-moving zombies come in all at once. It's good. It's good and scary. And the makeup's fantastic. It's always been. Well, I like how they're showing that Morgan and Rick are really not good people. But this long-haired guy is a terrible person, too. And is that really the kid? Or is Morgan just seeing the kid again? He's probably the kid it's probably the real kid, and he's going to rescue Morgan right now by killing the long-haired guy. Oh, I'm wrong. The long-haired guy is being eaten, finally. Because he's been surviving for a while. He keeps getting away. Yeah, Morgan and Rick are a deadly combination, but they're really not good for each other's mental health. They're both completely unraveling. This episode's actually been pretty good. I actually have been pleasantly surprised. I mean, they're concentrating on the main characters, the characters that we know. Oh, that was a weird edit with Henry running towards Ezekiel. So the one scene shows him running towards Ezekiel, and then the edit where Ezekiel hugs him, the kid's not running, he's stopping. So maybe he stopped and gave a speech, and that was cut out, but yeah. Little editing slip there. See, this is good, though. The episode's, almost over. There's maybe 10 minutes left. And it's mostly been on Rick, Morgan, and Carol. And then, a little bit of Negan, which there should be more Negan, but so you're focusing on the main characters and not these side characters who we don't really know yet. If you build these side characters to where we do know them, fine, but until this point, it's just these different side characters just haven't captured us yet because we don't know who they are. So concentrate on the main ones and you can build up the side ones. And I don't consider Ezekiel, one of the main characters yet, even though he has a very important part to play, but you can build him up by having him interact with someone like Carol more, instead of another side character who we don't know about. We don't necessarily want to know about yet. And I think in the show, the whole King act gets old real fast because you're hearing it. Well, in the book, you're just reading it, so it doesn't seem as stale. So this is pretty cool because Negan just returned to the sanctuary, and I'm glad for the Saviors that he's back because I know that he's a better leader than Simon. So his episode with the garbage woman actually helped. Now looking back on it, because he now switched back to the arrogant role, the sympathetic role helped build the arrogant role even more, which makes him even more likable, which is good. This is a good showing for the character development of Negan and the performance of Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And again, I'm not knocking Morgan as an actor. I think there's a lot of different things going, at least I'm speculating, there's a lot of different things going on at work regarding how Morgan wants to play the character versus how maybe the creative team wants the character to be played. This is just what I'm guessing. But, all right, so far, so good here. Wow, I thought I was actually going to... I don't hate it. I don't hate this episode, and I thought this was going to be an episode I was really going to hate, because I didn't like last week's. But, okay. Okay, indeed. And even though I'm clearing my throat, this is me without the flu, maybe a week later, so I'm feeling a lot better, and I think I'm sounding a lot better. I actually have energy in my voice, a pep in my step. So with that pep, I'm going to do the plugs. So you can find me on Twitter. My name is Mike Lane, and this podcast is Music, Movies, and More. And you can find me on Twitter at Mike Lane Act. That's MikeLaneAct. You can find me on Facebook at Mike Lane Actor. You can email me at MikeLaneAct@yahoo.com. And please share, review this podcast on whatever platform you're listening on. It definitely helps. So thanks a lot for listening, everyone. And until next time, I think there's going to be another flu session because I recorded another podcast when I had the flu, and that's probably going to be the next one. But we'll see. Who knows? Maybe I'll throw a surprise podcast in there. So, but regardless, thanks for listening. Bye.